So Eden Streets empowers communities to initiate and support farms with a social mission. We share best practices with our community. And with a 6-year track record, Green Phoenix Farm is a proven model. We're really excited to hear from James, who initiated and managed the farm and now coaches farmers.
Yeah, and here, if I could, I'd just like to share a little bit about James. I happen to be the assistant farmer in 2021 for the 10 months that we worked with women facing homelessness in Salt Lake City, Utah, 6 blocks west from Center City. And on this 1.4 acre farm, I learned so much from James. I want to especially acknowledge the Wasatch Community Gardens for hosting, basically being the host organization for the Green Phoenix Farm and allowing me to be an AmeriCorps worker, intern, if you will, at the farm. James has taught me so many things about farming, about working with people. He's got that right blend of sensitivity to people's needs, working with them wherever they are, and helping them relaunch their lives. So thank you, James. And yeah, I think Sarah's going to share a little bit more on your bio, and then we'll turn it over to you.
So before we get the secret sauce recipe, James's bio is a passionate student of organics, permaculture design, and regenerative agriculture for the last 20 years. James has a contagious enthusiasm for growing, teaching, and mentorship. He is currently the Director of Agricultural Operation for Wasatch Community Gardens and oversees the Green Phoenix Farm, a 1.4 acre urban farm in Salt Lake City that provides employment and mentorship for women experiencing homelessness for the past 6 years. He also serves as president of the Ocho Society, a nonprofit dedicated to intentional community, environmental education, and stewardship. He is also an instructor for the Green Urban Lunchbox Small Farms Initiative and teaches a small number of workshops for Wasatch Community Gardens. He has written over 50 articles on a number of topics related to regenerative agriculture, deep organic gardening, and other topics for Catalyst magazine, which can be found under Like a Boss column. When not in the field or classroom, James enjoys whitewater rafting, climbing, canyoneering, downhill mountain biking, snowboarding, and pretty much any other high adrenaline outdoor adventure he can find. Not like myself. He is dedicated and highly involved father of 2. There is an unverified rumor that he actually sat down and relaxed this one time, but this is yet to be verified. So while James is speaking, feel free to put questions in the chat, but we've left time after James presents for question and answer. So with that, thank you so much, James, for being here and sharing with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah and Carl. Let's swap the tech here. And yeah, feel free, like Sarah mentioned, to toss those questions in the chat. I am going to do my best to do an appropriately deep dive, but also, you know, save some time for questions so we can kind of take this thing where it needs to go. And look at that, y'all saved me so much time on the intro. I don't have to say much of anything about who I am because you all nailed it. I think if you were to sum me up in a meme, this would be it exactly. And I think, you know, for a lot of other farmers with the social mission, you know, that's just who we are. So as Carl mentioned, I'm the Director of Agricultural Operations for Wasatch Community Gardens, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit in Salt Lake City, Utah. We have almost 20 community gardens in every neighborhood around the valley. We work with a number of Title I schools through our Youth in School program. We teach dozens of workshops each year, everything from organic gardening to growing mushrooms and building bat boxes. And of course, the job training program is the one that I've been the most involved with, and is hosted at our Green Phoenix farm. We of course host a number of events, and one of the things I'm the most excited about that happens through the farm is we grow about 40,000 vegetable seedlings and a few thousand edible perennials each spring. And that goes out. Last year, we had 3,000 individual transactions at our plant sale. So that means, you know, we're growing a lot of food in our community gardens and at the farm. But when you think of the power of 3,000 gardeners around the valley, that's a lot of food. That makes me simultaneously very excited and also very hungry. We are driven by community need. We like to really pay attention to what the community actually wants, and wasatchgardens.org, you can find out more about all the things that we do. Now, I'm here to talk, talk specifically about the Green Phoenix and the work that we do. I was hired in the summer of 2016 to build this farm as well as develop the program. And to be perfectly honest, you know, when I first hopped on, I was motivated for an opportunity to farm in an urban setting, but do so with a salary, health insurance, and security that often small farmers don't have. You know, of course, the ask was, we're going to need you to go ahead and develop this social program at the same time. And I'm like, how hard can that be? It was quite hard, actually. So I've learned a lot in the past 6 years. And I think we've really developed this program into something that I'm very proud of and excited to share with all of you today. So as of 2022, we are certified organic through the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food. We are a demonstration site for urban regenerative agriculture, right? So taking what was once an abandoned, trash-filled lot and turning that into a thriving food-producing powerhouse. So our main outputs are seedlings, like I mentioned, for the spring plant sale. We also produce edible perennials, vegetables, flowers, and we steward about 36 varieties of vegetables, herbs, and flowers. We are part of the Snake River Seed Cooperative based in Boise, and growing for seed is a way that we can also generate a little bit of revenue without competing with other local growers. It's important to us that, you know, we are an asset to our local farm community, that we're not competing unfairly. And so we don't sell any produce. We donate all of it to low-income families, and that produce goes out through our Wasatch Community Gardens programs, as well as partnerships in the community. You look in this upper right-hand corner, that was what we started with. That photo on the right is, you know, kind of where we're at with the farm. I like to joke that I'm a permaculturist cursed with an English garden aesthetic. I like a stupid tidy farm, and yeah, that's my own cross to bear. So, you know what, you know, just got to share the farm pictures. You know, that upper right-hand corner shows one of our 2 high tunnel greenhouses with those seedlings ready to go out for sale. Some of that produce headed out into the community. And that picture in the lower right is to illustrate that we are about to be moving the farm. So this summer we will be picking up and transplanting to a new location. And I'll talk about that a little later if I have time. So, you know, while we're not here specifically to talk about it, I think it is worth noting how much the farm focuses on on really ecological growing and earth stewardship. And I'll tie that back in later with our holistic approach. But, you know, we are solar powered. We use 32% less water than your average irrigated vegetable farm in the West. And we do that at the same time as producing 17 times the economic output of your average vegetable farm in the United States. Most of the farm is built from salvage materials, and I am an absolute geek when it comes to beneficial insect and pollinator habitat, healthy living soil. I only grow plants as an excuse to compost, really. Like, we love making compost, and just, you know, we are like really all in when it comes to ecological stewardship. And I bring that up too, because that can be a huge asset when you're seeking funding and grants, particularly from entities like the NRCS, because so much of the federal and state money that's coming in through grants is really trying to help farmers grow in a more ecological fashion. What's important to note there, again, though, is these entities like to farm projects. They or fund projects. They like to fund things with a track record they're already doing. Rarely do they fund ideas. So if you've got ideas on paper, awesome, put them into practice, show you have the skills to do it, then seek that funding. But that's going to be a whole other webinar, right, Carl? So this farm that we've built, you know, aside from being a full functioning, highly productive organic farm, its real purpose is to host our job training program, AKA the Green Team. And I want to give a shout out to the team at the Homeless Garden Project in Santa Cruz. When we first started this project, they were a huge inspiration, and they were nice enough to host several of us over different visits and really kind of give us that fundamental understanding of how to be successful. And what's really stuck with me is our role is to be a bridge, not an island. So we provide jobs and mentorship for women facing homelessness in teams of 6 to 8, although we've worked with teams as big as 12 at a time. And we've tried a number of different timelines and models, and where, you know, most of the time we'd done this 10-month program, but really coming back to that be a bridge, not an island. It was really, we noticed it was a little difficult getting women to transition from the farm into that next phase of their life, into that next job. And so we've been experimenting with a much shorter timeline, and now we've really found a 16-week program. We're able to really realize all the benefits of that time on the farm for the women, but in a much more compressed timeline that allows them to transition much more successfully. We've had around 80 women come through the program since we've started, and we have just under an 80% success rate for women not only obtaining jobs and housing, but keeping it, right? And actually continuing to move and have that forward inertia. Because, you know, it's not good enough to just check a box. You know, we really want that lasting, holistic change. So we also work with veterans, at-risk youth, community service volunteers, individuals in recovery, and bankers, real estate agents, computer programmers. There's a lot of folks that come through in volunteer groups that really benefit from their time on the farm. And while we focus on those that often lack access and are disadvantaged, let's not forget that everybody in our community can benefit from the type of work and the environment that we're providing on this farm. And I mean, increasing the health and happiness of our community only furthers that ripple effect, right? So, ooh, fun. Boom, power. That was last spring's cohort. Don't forget the importance of fun in these projects. Talking about ripples into the community, one thing we're really starting to see now that the farm has been here and our alumni has grown is now we're kind of rippling and seeing these other projects form. So one of our team, who's an alumni of the program, named Lynette Byrne, I'll talk a little bit more about her later. She has spearheaded and runs a community garden at a facility called Palmer Court, which is a permanent supportive housing facility for folks who were previously chronically homeless or who have disabilities or other barriers to traditional housing. And this winter, one of our team, Courtney Giles, spearheaded what she called the Coconut Hut and took one of our greenhouses that was sitting idle, and it served as kind of a gathering point and clearinghouse for helping the unsheltered get the resources that they need to survive a harsh Utah winter. And we have had a cold winter. So she had 725 people come through in 18 days. She was open twice a week through most of the winter, and guaranteed there were some lives saved by the work that she did, as well as really making some connections in those serving the unsheltered. And we're currently in discussion with a number of other sites to incorporate gardens and programming, particularly around supportive housing situations, right? Because a lot of our folks who've experienced homeless get moved into supportive housing, but there's a lack of wraparound services. And that's something that we really want to see. We want to see gardens and programming and support in these places. So, boom, meet the team. So Jackie, the team is key. And when we talk about the secret sauce, the team is a huge component of the secret sauce. So Jackie is our program director. She works closely with Courtney Giles, our advocate. Those two are doing the recruiting and really working kind of the soft skills, workshopping with the women on the team. Courtney is both of those women are absolute powerhouses, and that's an important kind of, I kind of view the program as two halves of the whole, right? There's the programming and soft skills, which is Jackie and Courtney. Then there's that actual farm management work part of the day. And Jordan Sortino is our farm manager, and Lynette Byrne is our lead grower. And our team has an unapologetically ruthless work ethic, and we are committed to the women we serve. Being successful in this line of work, I mean, it never turns off, you know, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I embrace that. So, these are, I want to now kind of just start talking about areas that we've arrived that have really helped us to have that high rate of success. And the first of that is really targeted recruitment. So we work with a lot of the shelters and service providers and case managers to get referrals and leads. We try to flyer and get the word out. And recently we've developed, our previous program director, Susie Marvin, developed what we call the Taste of the Farm. And what that is a weekly opportunity during those recruitment phases for potential team members to come to the farm, meet the staff, do a bit of a farm task, share a meal. And we like to phrase that as it's their opportunity to interview us, right? And see if the farm might be a good fit for them. And you know, we'd gone through phases of the farm where we just hired absolutely anybody at any point, and we found that that wasn't maybe necessarily the most strategic move. And not only are we really trying to do that targeted recruitment, we're hiring in cohorts, right? So we're trying to put together a team of women who will have that experience together and support each other through their experience, as opposed to just an ongoing hiring and graduation, which we have tried. Honestly, just even from a farm logistics model, that ongoing hiring, it really became difficult to understand at what level of training and skills each of the women had, whereas that cohort model just makes things really simple, and that support has just proven invaluable. So we work a 4-day work week, 20 to 25 hours. That gives the women that additional day off to pursue their other goals, whether that's, getting rid of criminal records, meeting with a case manager or a probation officer, whatever those goals are. The women really benefit from that extra day off. And a question we ask point blank, do you have a desire and a willingness to change? Because that is key, right? This is not for, if folks are just looking for a job, there's other opportunities, right? What we're doing here is deeper, and we really use that taste of the farm to communicate that and make sure that our team members are all in. We try to screen to make sure there's no active substance abuse or untreated mental illness. That's easier said than done when working with the population that we do, but we found, that's clutch, because we're not necessarily set up as counselors in those areas, but we are also all in on helping women arrive at the situation. Maybe this cohort is not right for you, but maybe we can work together, and when we're hiring again in the fall, you can be ready. We've also been really focused on the fact that what we are doing, the green team, is their program, right? It's not my program, it's their program. Nobody knows better how to help someone experiencing homelessness than someone who's lived that, right? And so we really leverage that. I like to say that, when folks are hired, that this door is open to you because someone before you opened that door and kept it open. I'm a huge fan of lean management and try to make sure that the leadership of the farm is invisible, right? Like I like to think of us more as guides. And we start our day every day with yoga, meditation, mindfulness, daily strategy briefings. We really try to run the farm in a way that it's not a top down, I'm just telling you what to do, but I'd like really for the members of the team to arrive at their own their own self-guided work ethic. And of course, we share a farm fresh meal every day prepared on site. We are food pushers, and let's not forget, a farm is work, and we work hard. I like to put the challenge out there that none of the top earners in my city could last a week alongside the women of the green team. And I put that challenge out in the media repeatedly, and I've yet to have anyone take me up on it. At the core of our soft skills is an acronym we use called Nourish. And this was borrowed from a TED Talk from a woman named Jolene Park, who's an addiction researcher. And this is this is more or less the key to happiness, right? This is how you release and replenish your feel-good brain chemicals. So notice nature, observe the breath, unite with others, replenish with food, initiate movement, sit in stillness, and harness your creativity. Think about that, right? If you can do each of those things on a weekly basis, you will have a measurable improvement in your mental health and life outlook. And if you think about your average farm day, you're nailing every single one of those things, right? That's one of the reasons that these farms with a social mission are proven to be so effective. And check out that photo. Isn't that so great? That's a earth mandala from found natural objects. So that's, art creativity, craftsmanship, that's all part of the joy. So, man, I hope we're doing good on time. I feel like I'm just rushing through some stuff, but also the secret sauce, right? Let's talk about this. This is coming back to, I like to say there's no punching out, right? I'm always thinking of these types of things. This was something I saw on some chalkboard at some coffee shop, right? We're always looking for those inspirational moments. I think this is such a fantastic quote about the work that we do and the attitude that we have, right? Like, just be nice. It's not that hard. We have a very holistic approach, right? We recognize, and I recognize, that I am a human animal that is part of nature, and all of life and all of us as people are interconnected, right? It's only advantageous for us all to just try to boost each other. And so at the farm, we are very focused on our physical health, our mental health, supporting community, really having a tangible sense of wonderment on how the brain works and how the world works, taking every opportunity for merriment and music and telling jokes and smiles and high fives, and going as deep as we can with this experience, right? All of this together is systems thinking and really thinking of that big picture. And that's an important part of what we do. Boom. So we think part of the secret sauce too is the culture and the attitude that we embody, right? We're solutions based. We like to speak in the positive, right? If I say, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at math, I have backed myself in a corner and I'm not going to get any better at math. If I say, man, I could sure use some more math skills, look at that. Now I have a path in front of me and I have an ability to improve. And it's amazing how expanding our emotional vocabulary, how expanding and changing the way that we speak. I'll tell you what, humans are super easy animals to train, right? If I want to teach a dog to sit, because I've had a dog, right? You've got to do like 200 repetitions with rewards, right? Like, you can teach me to do something in like 3 repetitions if you give me the right treat, right? And nobody has a better capacity to train ourselves than ourselves. So let's take that opportunity to reach our full potential. We like to say that every single day we have the opportunity to walk out the gate of the farm a slightly better version than when we arrived. It's a pretty simple goal and it's pretty easy to hit every day. Doesn't happen every day, but it happens more times than not. And as a facilitator and as a guide, as the farmer and as the team, I think it's really important that we all have a legitimate childlike wonder and curiosity about the natural world. There's always something new to learn. I love sharing random facts about insects and whales and the natural world. It's a surprisingly common desire we all have to just be curious, and I leverage that. And all these things come together and really make the vibe, right? Really make the energy. I think one thing I'm really excited about what we've created is I hear it all the time from folks that come into the farm. Is as soon as they come in the gate, they say, wow, this feels different, right? Like the whole energy of the place feels different. And allowing folks to move into that space where they begin to feel and we're all authentic and vulnerable and honest, that really creates that container for change, right? Because when you really think about the work that we're doing as farmers with a social mission, we're providing a safe, beautiful space for the folks that we serve to ground out and feel secure and just take a breath. Right from there, we can work on cultivating that spark and fanning that spark into a flame, and that flame turns into power. Right, and when people feel powerful and feel supported, that's when we can set and achieve goals. Right, if you don't feel powerful and have self-love, no amount of aid, assistance, vouchers, none of that is going to provide lasting change. It's that personal power, and that's really what we're trying to cultivate. And folks on the street, folks coming out of the shelter, folks who've been brought up in difficult situations, who've been raised in poverty, they can smell BS a mile away, right? So look back to being authentic, vulnerable, honest. Go ahead and get rid of any savior complex you might have, any ego around the fact that, you know, we have something these other folks need. No, we're all in this together, right? I need work. Like, you know, there's a lot of things I need to change about myself. Everybody here on this call has room for improvement. So let's do that together, right? Right. If you're not familiar, if for those in the call, if you're working with the unsheltered population, if you're not familiar with Ryan Dowd, write that name down. He works, I believe he's out of Chicago, in the largest shelter in that city, and he does a series of trainings that I think are absolutely mandatory. One thing that really stands out to me is his pennies in a cup analogy. So every time I give you a compliment, even a nice look, a high five, a smile, even addressing you by name, right? That's like putting pennies in my cup. That's building goodwill. That way, when an opportunity arises that maybe we have a less than favorable interaction, I'm in a position you already trust me and are going to give me the benefit of the doubt. And the psychology around fairness is that if you feel wronged, you often need to be righted ×5 of the wrong, right? So if I steal $10 from Carl, he's really not going to feel happy at his core until I give him $50, right? Right. That's what's going to seem fair. And so going ahead and paying it forward, again, coming back to like, just be nice. It's not that hard. Build that goodwill. Another part of our culture is that we celebrate victories and we embrace failure, right? Making mistakes is a huge part of growth. We don't get anywhere without mistakes. And I like to joke that when I'm in that lead position, I like to joke that I'm setting myself up for failure. Like, guaranteed, when I'm training the crew and they're nervous, I say, listen, I'm going to make more frequent, more expensive, larger mistakes than any of you are. So go ahead and drop that pressure. And I do. I blow it frequently. I'm trying to always operate on the edge of success and try new things to where I'm failing. And it's all about how I react and rebound and mine the mistakes to figure out where I went wrong and build from there. And don't underestimate that peer support, working in groups, and treating those of us who we quote unquote serve as peers, right? I mean, a lot of the women who've come through the Green Team program have more life experience than I do, have more education than I do, have made more money than I do at some point in their lives, right? Coming back up to that savior complex. No, we're all in this together. We're all peers. Let's work and grow together. Now, farmer with a social mission. I've been working on what skills do you need to hire if you're looking for a farmer. Good thing it's not that much. You just need an experienced grower, experienced builder, someone with plumbing skills, electrical skills, mechanically inclined, decent at math, visionary, endlessly optimistic, a systems thinker. That's kind of that farmer part, but right? A farmer with a social mission also needs to be a charismatic, natural leader with high executive functioning skills, a high level of communication skills, an excellent teacher, has to have street cred and experience, also be compassionate, emotionally resilient, and have a genuine interest in being of service, right? You have to live the work. There's no punching out. Great. So you can put that in your hiring job description. But also, every single one of those things is an opportunity to connect and engage the folks who are coming to your farm for whatever it is that they're seeking, right? Sometimes it's funny, showing my team how to plumb a sink correctly and explaining a P-trap and the different connectors and why these things work actually was a highlight of their time on the farm. And I hadn't even thought about it. I just thought, oh, well, maybe they might be interested in this. You never know. It's such a trip of being receptive and just taking every opportunity, because each of these individuals coming through is different. You never know where you're going to connect. So this past October, we were awarded a National Science Foundation grant through one of my community partners. She's a professor. Her name is Shannon Jones. And this grant has given us a great opportunity to dive into what the secret sauce is, right? We have, I mean, let's face it, I'm a farmer. I'm so busy. During Carl's time with me, he was shocked and appalled at my lack of record keeping and actually writing things down. And Carl brought a lot to the table to help us understand what those numbers were. And now we have this whole group of brainiacs from the University of Utah, folks with letters by their name who like numbers in their sentences with all sorts of micro letters at the bottom of these pages. They've really been helping us deep dive over the last few months to understand what that secret sauce is and how things really work. So we've hosted a number of meetings with focus groups, people who are running the shelters and working for the city, but also bringing in our unsheltered neighbors and alumni from the program to really understand what they found compelling and what those points were that really gifted them with that lasting change in their life. We're hoping to take this research that we've done to really lay out what that secret sauce is, which will help farmers with a social mission with hiring guidelines, job applications and descriptions, understanding what questions to ask to better understand the psychology and disposition of the people we might want to be hiring, as well as really develop trainings and ensure the replicability of this model. And we're also using this knowledge to take the Green Phoenix Farm to the next level and develop it into a farm resource hub. And what our hope is with this next level is right now, we did have a 10-month program, which we shortened to a 16-week program, but 16 weeks is still a big ask for somebody that has a time horizon of less than 24 hours, right? So what we want to do is create more opportunities for some of our unsheltered neighbors to come into the farm, even for just a few hours, right? Harvest some food, share a meal, take a shower, do some laundry, and just participate, because maybe what an individual needs is not a 16-week program at this point in their life. Maybe what they need is just one good day, right? And we want the farm to be also a clearinghouse for service providers and connecting our unsheltered neighbors to the resources. Because there's a lot of folks who are not going to shelters for whatever reason. And so they're not being connected with those services. And we want to kind of stop in and fill the gap. Because right now in, I don't know how things are in your city, but in Salt Lake City, there are dozens of different service providers who are not talking to each other. And we've put that burden of figuring out the system on the individual to solve a systemic problem. And they're in the most disadvantaged position to do that. So we want to kind of leverage our resources and help make that process a little bit easier. Now, this,
Hey, James, I just want to do a little time check. We have about 15 minutes of the call and would like to leave some time for questions.
perfect. I'm almost done. I was about to wrap
Perfect.
up. Thank you for
Awesome.
letting me know.
Of course.
And also, I don't know how y'all's time is, but our Wasatch Community Garden staff meeting just got canceled. So I do have a little bit of extra time if that's helpful, if we have questions. So I'm sharing this slide, and of particular interest is look at the very right-hand side under social program assets. So this is the result of a number of breakout groups of about 40 people. So service providers, farm alumni, the unsheltered folks. And this is where I've really pulled, because in my mind, right, I'm a farmer, I'm a physical guy. Like, I want to know how much kale changed your life, and what else do I need to build to make your life better? And what of the things that I built and grew made the impact on your life? And notice how much the physical assets got very little attention from either of these groups. And look at that farmer knowledge secret sauce. This is what the women from our program valued. They valued staff that was compassionate, supportive, charismatic, lighthearted, approachable, had street cred and shared experience, was resilient, patient, right? It's all about really the relationships and the team support. That's really what stood out to our farm alumni, and that's really what they kept coming back to. And that being said, if we come back to that lean management theory, right? As a manager, my job is not to tell you what to do. It's to give you the tools and the information that you need to do the excellent job. And when I further reflected on those focus groups, I really realized the farm and the earth and the insects and the soil and the veggies, those were the invisible leader through this whole process, because there's so many metaphors and opportunities for engagement. Well, we'll skip on what's next because I kind of talked on some of that. I want to save some rooms for questions, but again, just coming back, I thought of myself primarily as a farmer with a social mission. And the more I've delved into this secret sauce, the more I realize I'm a guide, right? Guiding folks through their experience on the farm, like I might lead my friends through a canyoneering experience, which this was an awesome one. This is in Arches National Park. It's amazing how much less people you see in a super crowded national park if you're just willing to drop off a few 100-foot cliff with a rope. Got the place to yourself. So great. I am going to stop the share, hop back into Zoom here, and hopefully that's hopefully that's some content, some inspiration, some information that is useful to each of y'all. So let's do some questions.
Thank you so much, James. I am really feeling physically the inspiration from hearing everything you just shared. I'm superficially familiar with the program, but just hearing all these details is truly very inspiring. And we hope that by sharing this webinar with the folks in the room and with our other members, we can elevate your work and inspire others. And if there's any links or anything you want to share so that we can support Green Phoenix or anything else, you could throw them in the chat or send me afterwards. I'll send them with the notes for the recording.
Thank you so much. I just posted the Wasatch Community Gardens website, and so there's a
Perfect.
tab on there that guides you to the farm as well as the job training program. So can I start looking at some of these questions? Maybe we can dive in.
Yes.
And I apologize if I've missed anything above, but I see one that Matt listed here of how much value does a paycheck add to the experience? Is it motivation to stick around for the therapeutic portions? You know, I think, I mean, obviously, I guess I don't know. We haven't tried not paying people. I do think that offering that job and that paycheck for folks who might not otherwise have access to a job, obviously that helps quite a bit because it takes money to live. But I don't know that that is the primary motivation at all. I think as long as folks are being compensated and receive something of value, we have run another program that we called Seeds of Success, which was working with trying to break the cycle of poverty for single mothers. And so there was kind of a farm component, soft skills component. This was not paid, but we did provide job training and get them into a job. So we ran this program for 2 years. Women were trained as CNAs, and that through the Department of Workforce Services, we were able to provide the training for free. So the women received something of value for their participation. The Department of Workforce Services received something of value. Don't underestimate the fact that for a lot of service providers, we're offering to do their job for them, right? Like caseworkers are overloaded. Like if you refer someone to our program, now we're basically, we just let you claim success and we did all the work for you. So I think that value proposition is the key, whether or not that's money. That remains to be seen. So let me know what you figure out. Okay, Carl, can you say something about the farm being a one-stop shop for meeting individuals' needs? Yeah, and this is actually something, Carl, we want to address a little bit more as we kind of level up with the farm move into that resource hub. Jackie and Courtney had the great idea of bringing in the mobile clinic, bringing in service providers. We also are going to be opening up our meeting space on site at the farm for caseworkers and other service providers to actually meet with not just our not just our team members, but other folks in the community, right? Because that caseworkers connecting with people is actually surprisingly difficult. Like in these focus groups, we heard of numbers of situations where a case manager had a housing voucher for someone, is going to the different encampments trying to find them. And even though that person is there, the case manager is being told, no, they're not, because that case manager has a badge and looks official and they don't know if that person's coming to be arrested. And so we being that neutral space, adding showers, adding laundry, we do not currently have those, but that's something I plan to add in. And Matt, coming back to your question, with this farm hub idea that we have, you know, that opportunity to come in and enjoy the resources of the farm, that is not going to be paid. But something we've gotten the feedback from is, of course, we all know that folks value what they earn more than what they're given. And our alumni has given the feedback that we can't just let anybody come into the farm. They want to know that whoever is there is earning the right to be there and has been vetted. And so what they're telling us is volunteering on the farm for 2 hours is a fair exchange for a meal, produce to go, ability to charge your cell phone, and access showers, toilet, hygiene, laundry. We're calling that the hygiene complex till I think of a more clever name. And so I'd love to give some feedback on that once we pilot that for a year or two and see if that's really a fair trade. Would WCG consider making Green Phoenix Farm an internship programs for more farmers with a social mission? Carl, I'm glad you asked that, because one of the slides I kind of skipped over at the end is we're going to be moving to a new site in the summer of this year, 2023. And the Green Team program will occupy that site for 2 years. Then Wasatch Community Gardens is being gifted a large chunk of land under an agricultural conservation easement, and that will be the permanent home of the Green Phoenix. We'll use the site that I'm building this year to then be a farm incubator. And we 100% want to use the space and the resources we have to train aspiring farmers with a social mission, provide internships, maybe provide week-long workshops or whatever works for people, as well as use that incubator space for women who are coming through the program who maybe really have an aptitude and a love for agriculture. You know, a lot of the women we serve might have a small amount of money coming in, whether that's a disability check or a military pension, but it's not enough to afford living in the city. And so maybe we make a small micro farm business that covers that spread, and they can have that, you know, be that farmer themselves, and kind of extend more helping hands, as well as feed the people.
Well, James, I love your vision, and you've been incredible in how you articulate what you do and the passion with which you do it. I just give deep gratitude on behalf of all those on the farm, on behalf of the members of Eden Streets, for your life commitment to this. And really, there's nothing short of your whole self that you put into this. So I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Carl. You got to be all in. And if I didn't stress it enough, I just want to close with the fact that, you know, there's no way we could do the work that we do on the level that we do it without the support of Wasatch Community Gardens as a whole, and as an organization, right? Because, you know, so much, whether it's our volunteers and volunteer programs and our fundraising team and the distribution of food through our youth and school program, right? Like, the whole organization really is key to the success of the farm. So
great, thank you. Sarah Marie, do you want to wrap up with just a few slides for the next webinar?
Yeah, let's see. Share my screen. All right, can you guys see that?
Yep.
Great. So just a little wrapping up on ways to stay connected with the work that we're doing with Eden Streets. You know, our goals are really to grow supportive community of farms who are doing work similar to what James just spoke about. The more we can share about what it takes to create these spaces, these safe spaces where that, like James shared, the more we can create them. So that's our whole goal. We want to share successes and learn from best practices, to stay connected with us and to become a part of the community, becoming a member, which would give you a free consultation, will promote your farm, connect you with resources and mentors, and a general network that's supporting the work that you're doing, farming with a social mission. We have social media. Please find us and share. You'll find out about webinars and other activities we're doing. We have a newsletter. Call us, email us, text us. We really want to genuinely know about your work and people who are doing similar work, and build a community that can support. And our next webinar, we're lucky enough to have Camille Winnie, who I believe is on this call, joining us. Sorry, I need to make a little space here on my screen. We'll be sending out a recording of today's webinar, and I'll send you the invite for this next webinar. It'll be on March 9th at 2 p.m. Camille Winnie was instrumental in starting Green Phoenix Farm and working with Salt Lake City, and will speak on the art of collaboration and building partnerships. So
can I give a just shout out to Camille and echo what you just said? Camille is such a powerhouse. I would definitely not miss the opportunity to hear her speak, because she is a gold mine of inspiration and information.
Yeah, I think this is a critical piece to building these farms. I'm really looking forward to this.